Hello everyone and welcome to episode 5 of Tahari Talks. This is our first episode of 2024 and we're getting into some things as always. In episode 5 of Tahari Talks, we'll be talking about how to free yourself from the thoughts and the opinions of others. Basically, how to stop caring about what people think about you. If you bookmarked this video, added it to your watch later, and then came back to it and watched it in private, trust me, you're probably not alone. We all love to act like we do not care about what other people think. It's way more popular to say, I don't care what anybody thinks about me, I do what I want, I don't care. But even though the majority of people will not admit it, the truth of the matter is that many of us, most of us, if not all of us, care about what other people think. It just becomes a question of how far are you going to let the thoughts and opinions of others hold you back in life. And this video is to teach you about what the nature of those thoughts and opinions are and how to not let them hold you back. Just as with anything else, stopping a way of being first comes with learning the source of whatever the proclivity is. In this case, why do people hold such strong opinions on our lives? Why do we care so much about what those opinions and thoughts are as a result of those strong opinions even existing? And then once you gain an understanding, then you can shift your perspective on the entire thing because you understand the nature of it and you don't take it personally anymore. When you take the time to understand why people hold such heavy thoughts and opinions, especially about other people, then you're able to adjust accordingly so that those thoughts and opinions have no effect on the decisions that you make and how you live your life. Truth be told, there are a lot of things that you've been wanting to accomplish for years far before 2024, but you haven't gotten started. And the biggest thing holding you back is not even what you think about yourself. It's not the self-doubt. It's not the self-confidence. It's not the self-image. You're too scared about what the effect will be and what people are going to say about it, or you have so much noise in your mind about what people have been saying about that thing or what you may think they're going to say that might not even be accurate. When you get to the end of your life, none of the people noise will matter. Not any single bit of it. When you're laying on your deathbed, whenever you reach the end of this lifetime and you're asking yourself, why didn't I take the trip? Why didn't I do the things? Why didn't I follow the path? Why didn't I do that thing that was going to make my adrenaline rush? Why didn't I do the thing that was going to bring me peace? Why didn't I take those risks, etc.? And your only reason that you did not do those things is because you care too much about what other people thought. That answer simply will not be enough. No matter what you did or didn't do throughout this life, if you get to the end and you say, I did not accomplish or even attempt these things because of other people and what they may have thought, it's just not enough. So we're going to throw away that excuse because we're about to get to the root of why the obsession of other people's thoughts even exists. And then we're going to shift our mindset so that it's no longer a factor and we can move on to achieve all that this life has for us. Like, I really want you to stop for a second, even if you have to pause this video and think about that. Think about not reaching the fullest extent of yourself, not reaching the highest version of yourself, not fulfilling purpose, all because of other people. After you watch this video, it's not happening. It's no longer a factor. That's why I want you to take a second and think about it because we're no longer even entertaining that thought. With that being said, let's get into the whys of it all. The first and broadest reason why so many people have unsolicited opinions about every little thing is because we are human. When our brains are given to us in the womb and when they are formed and when they are developed as we're nurtured throughout life and nature and nurture come together to marry into the human that you become and that you develop into, the thoughts and opinions are given right along with it. The ability to form perspective, the ability to form opinion are given to you innately. It's human nature to form perspective. It's human nature to form opinion. It's only when we pervert those thoughts or they turn into something negative in our path that it becomes a problem. And for a lot of people, that's way more often than we would like. But one thing we cannot change is that since the beginning of time, people have had thoughts and opinions, and they're gonna keep having thoughts and opinions long after you and I are gone and long until the end of time. It's simply a part of life. The grandmothers and aunties have always told us, whether you're doing good, whether you're doing bad, or whether you're indifferent, people are always going to talk, people are always going to have something to say, people are always going to think something, so you might as well just live in full and do whatever it is that you want to do. You're not going to want to hear this, but our innate desire to manage the thoughts and opinions of others about us is a control problem. You might not even acknowledge that you have control issues, but when you want to know and when you want to think about and when you want to not do insert whatever your it is because of other people, that's a control problem. And we're attempting to control something that is impossible to control to begin with. So in essence, we're wasting energy on something that really does not matter at the end of the day. A lot of times, if you go around a room and you ask people, what is a superpower that you wish you possess? I can bet you at least 2 people in the room would say, I wish I could read minds. There is a reason why we cannot do that in the physical realm. And it's because A, it doesn't matter. B, if we did read minds, Baby, you think you're not doing stuff because of what people might be thinking? You will really be torn down because of the reality of those thoughts. My hope for you throughout this video is that you walk away with a better understanding of human nature and of people and of the psychology of the mind. And not only that, but that you just walk away with the mantra of let whoever think whatever, because it's gonna happen regardless. The second reason why people have unsolicited opinions about everything is because projection is a forever pandemic. People are only able to offer perspective based on their own worldview and based on where they are themselves mentally and emotionally. So if you go to somebody and you're like, hey, I have this big idea that I want to accomplish, and they respond with something like, girl, what? That's never gonna happen. Why would you want to do that? That don't even make sense. It does not make sense to that person. Or they may have grown up in an environment where they had things themselves that they wanted to accomplish, and that's what people told them. They're only able to give you what's been given to them, or they don't think that they're able to accomplish certain things. They don't believe in themselves, so they're projecting a lot of times without even realizing that they're projecting to begin with. And that's kind of the hallmark of projection. Most people don't even realize that they're projecting when they do it. It just happens. So they'll be saying to you, I don't think you should do that, when really what they should be saying is, I don't think I'm capable of doing it. What they're saying to you is, that's gonna be really hard. But what they should be saying is, I believe that would be really hard or impossible for me to do. So that's just where I am. And you cannot fault people for the things that they come to the table with, the experiences that they've had, the mindsets that they adapt as a result of trying to survive in this lifetime. But where you do go wrong is allowing those worldviews and those perspectives to alter how you move throughout this life and allowing them to hinder you, because it should hold no weight with what you're trying to do and accomplish. Another reason why so many people offer unsolicited advice about everything and why they may project opinions on you that can have a negative connotation is because you're the blueprint. When you're embarking on something new, or when you're doing something that the people around you have not seen, the people who you're sharing it with, or your audience, even when they have not seen it before, they cannot understand it a lot of times. And with trailblazing comes a lot of backlash. Whether you're hearing it out loud, sensing it in your spirit, or whether you just think it might be happening, it probably is. And it may not even be something that's never been seen in the world before. You may be the first in your family to be doing something different, or you may be trying to bring a new idea to your workplace, or a new concept, or a new way of doing things, a new system into where you're operating in any space. And if the people there are used to things being done a certain way and you're coming in and trying to flip it, it's not your fault that they have not been exposed to those new ideas. Another aspect that contributes heavily to the unsolicited opinions of others is that their opinions are wrong and outdated. A lot of times, if people are forming an opinion about you or about a thing that you're doing, it's based on their perception of you. There have been so many times where I hear the way that people view me, or the person that they think that I am, or the person that they believe me to be, based on how they see things, and it's so inaccurate. But I've learned and grown to a point where I don't try to go around trying to alter how people see me, how people experience me, and what they think as a result of that, because that's not my project to manage. Or another example is, there are people in my family, people around me that have known me as a child, and they still in their minds picture me to be that same child, whereas I'm a whole grown adult. Because they're stuck there doesn't mean that I have to go there with them. And it also doesn't mean that I have to update their records about who I am. That's for them to do, if they so choose. And if they don't, that's okay too. Because I'm not trying to control their perception, their experience. I have to leave that where it is and continue to be who I am. If they catch up, great. If they don't, oh well. By the time they do, it'll be outdated, and there will be more information and new information and things to learn. So when they experience grown women Briana and they expect me to act a certain way, or they say, oh, that's just how she is, I don't have to become that because they think that. I can leave them where they are in those thoughts, in those feelings, and continue to be who I am, who I'm growing to be, and be okay in that. We spend a lot of time obsessing over people's thoughts, and if they're even thinking about us, which we're going to go into that next, 9 times out of 10, 8 times out of 10, is probably inaccurate. It won't change anything that's going to happen for us, around us, through us, to us, because if God says it's going to happen and He's going to do it, then that's all that matters. The only thing that can stop you and get in your way is you. The people in our lives, even close relatives, their thoughts about us are not who we have to be, because we don't go to them with pen and paper and ask them, hey, write this novel about me for me to embody and become, based on their own thought and perspective. That brings me to my last point, and a lot of y'all ain't going like this because it brings some accountability to the forefront. But sometimes we're worried about the perception and the opinions of others when we're actually the problem. You're actually the problem. We have to keep in mind that we also come to the human experience and to the table with our own sets of traumas, insecurities, and skewed opinions, perspective, everything that I just said that people possess. We are people, people are us. So with that, a lot of times comes the feeling or obsession or false narrative that these people are thinking and feeling a thing about me when they aren't even thinking about you. I've been seeing a lot of information about social anxiety and main character energy. A lot of times we enter rooms and think that people are worried about us, and literally nobody's concerned about us. So imagine, again, back to the example of going through life and getting to the end of life and not doing things because of things that you thought people were thinking that you couldn't control if they were, but that they were not even thinking to begin with. What a waste. So it's simple. If people are even thinking about you to begin with, if they're thinking something negative, because sometimes people could be holding you in a positive light, but anytime we hold people's opinions of us close to heart, we put too much weight on whether it is positive or negative, and that in turn feeds or starves our self-validation, and that's where things get dangerous. We have to get to a point where how we move tomorrow does not depend on what people think or feel about us today, whether it's good or bad, because people can be in your corner clapping for you one day, and then tomorrow they could say you canceled and you the worst based on one simple thing that's done, a mistake, a point of view, whatever. And so I don't want you to only watch this with the idea of I have to break the strongholds of the negative thoughts and opinions of people on my life. We also have to break the weight that we allow the positive thoughts of others contribute to our life, because that's where the people pleasing comes in. That's where the need for external validation comes in, and that's where we find ourselves doing things for everybody but ourselves, and that's just as dangerous as not doing anything because of the negative things that we may think that people are thinking about us. Let's just free ourselves from people. Granted, it's nice to get that hand clap. Granted, it's nice to get that sense of, okay, this is helping people, I'm reaching people, I'm doing this thing right. But what we cannot do is lean so heavily on that it becomes the driving force for everything that we do. My hope for you this year is that you are able to shut out the external noise and dive deep to figure out exactly who you are, who you want to become, what you want to achieve, what you want to do in this life, what will make you happy, what will bring you peace, all of those things. Not that your parents want for you, not that your siblings, not that your community wants for you, not for what your job wants for you, but for what you genuinely, truly want, and not what you feel like you should have to do for a spouse, for your children, etc. What you genuinely want. When you embody the things that have been said during our time together today, you'll not only stop caring about what people think about you, but you'll also stop caring about what they think about anything connected to you, whether it be your choices, your children, your connections. None of it will be a factor, and that's the ultimate goal. Yes, I can acknowledge that these thoughts may exist, but they hold no weight on what I'm doing with myself. Let's get into a quick prayer, and then we're gonna close this video on out. God, I thank you for every person on the other side of this screen. Thank you for bringing them to this video. Thank you for allowing them to find this information. I don't know how they got here, but I know that you brought them here, and that is enough. Allow them to dig deep, locate every pain point, locate every void that has become open as a result of caring too much about what other people are thinking and saying. Locate every trauma that has been formed from what may be abuse in their past, or what may be the negative things that were said to them that shouldn't have been said when they were in an innocent and vulnerable state, and now have come to play on repeat in their minds to hold them back. We know that that is a device of the enemy to try and keep them held back from becoming just who you've called them to be. So I ask you to break every one of those strongholds that is on them and catapult them full throttle into who they are supposed to be, especially in this year 2024. I thank you for their life, I thank you for their audience, and I thank you for this time, and it's in your name I do pray. Amen. As always, I hope that something that was said in this video sticks with you. If so, share this video with somebody that you know can use it. Like I always say, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you all in the next video. Later.